It's Luke and Naomi.
Bonjour, Shoshana. How about that?
I guess that works.
Does that sound like him a little bit?
A little.
All right. It's Luke and Naomi on air, featuring Naomi's Under a Rock reviews. 117, Inglorious Basterds review incoming.
That's right.
In just a little bit. I'm Luke Austin. That's Naomi Lynn.
Hello.
Hello. I've seen a ton of movies. Naomi's working on it.
That's right.
But she has lived under a rock, so she doesn't know a lot about them. So she's discovering them kind of in real time. So if you've seen it, relive your first watch through Naomi's eyes. If you've never seen it either, should you watch it?
I'll let you know.
Inglorious Basterds review incoming. I have a feeling we're going to get out of this one with a high ranking from Naomi. You seem to enjoy it. We will find out.
Oh, yeah?
You seem to. We'll find out in just a
okay.
little bit. I enjoyed the hell out of it, that's for sure. I love, Aldo the Apache and all the fellas.
Yeah.
All the bastards. So, 4 words for Inglorious Basterds.
Kill those terrible Nazis.
Kill those terrible Nazis. All right.
Yes.
All right. 4 words. We've kind of started doing that in the last couple of episodes. That used to be a thing we would do on our morning show. If you don't know, we used to host a morning show in New Mexico. And that's one thing we would do every Friday is 4-word Friday. So now we're kind of bringing it back with Naomi and her 4-word answers.
For the movies. So now I have to start thinking about that.
Quick 4-word review as we get into it. If you have been with us the last couple of episodes, at least, we've had a garden going on since the beginning of garden season.
Yeah, and it's been doing well.
It is killing it right now. I'm proud of the garden.
Yeah, we harvested 2 peppers out of the deal. We harvested some cilantro and a handful of strawberries.
I like harvested.
Well, we did.
I guess that counts,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, I think of harvest like, the big at
A
the
bountiful
end.
harvest.
It's like,
No,
like
we just have a small harvest. It's
tractors
fine.
and shit.
Yeah.
And harvest is a handful.
That's fine.
That's all right. I still
For
like
the
it.
amount of plants we have and the amount of space, yes, that's a handful is a harvest.
It was still bountiful for the space where the plants are.
Yeah.
That's for sure. I love it. News on the Frog Hotel.
Frog Hotel is doing great because we have a resident that now just sticks around all the time.
Pretty
He's
sure it is the same one, right?
Yeah, and he just kind of goes from one tube to a different tube. He's been in the same tube for like the last 3 days. That's his new home. Love that little guy in there.
Aw.
Yeah.
Except
We are going to have to dismantle Frog Hotel, and this is the most heartbreaking thing. Because we're going to have to dismantle it. First of all, we cannot just leave it. We have to dismantle it, which means he loses his home. And that's just heartbreaking.
the frog probably isn't bigger than a 50-cent piece, if anybody knows what those still look like. If anybody still remembers what those look like.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that big. But,
this is his home.
It's the closest thing to a pet we've had in a long time, so it's kind of funny. But yeah, it's if you're not following, we have to move. We're moving. We are moving. Bigger and better and all that stuff. So we're moving down the road a little bit. Got a place we're very excited for.
We love the place, but we can't bring Frog Hotel with us for a couple of reasons. We have a patio at the new place, but it's screened in, so I don't want poor little Froggy to get trapped there. Second of all, we cannot take Frog Hotel with residents in it in a vehicle across town.
That would be so just,
It's just not a good idea.
that would terrorize the poor little frog.
They
So we're not
probably
doing that.
wouldn't
That's for
make
sure.
it. So now we have to dismantle this poor frog's home. And I'm devastated. Like, part of me doesn't even want to move because of this.
That's right. But we will do our best to, get him released back into the wild or, move it to a friend's balcony if we can find somebody to take it. But I still don't know how to do that.
He's a tree frog. Like, we'll just put him in a tree.
He's a tree frog.
It's fine.
We'll get him back into the wild safely and all of that stuff. But yeah, so we are moving, which means we're going to be off for a couple of weeks because, everything's going to be upside down for quite a while.
Yeah, we're moving, like, legit this Friday.
This Friday. Yeah, it's Monday now as we're recording. We're moving on Friday. And then we got 5th anniversary coming up, folks in town. The beer we brewed is going to be debuting at that point. So we will have tons of stuff. So stick around. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel because we'll get some videos up there. We definitely will show off the beer we brewed for sure.
Yeah, and you definitely want to be paying attention on Facebook as well. We'll have plenty of pictures. We'll have questions. We'll show you the progress with the new place. But it is going to be a couple of weeks until we get the new studio set back up.
Yeah, and so that'll be, we will make sure we keep you up to date and alert for all of that stuff. But just keep checking back, and that way you will know.
And we'll keep you updated on what happens with Froggy.
That's right. That's going to be the big one. What goes down with the frog and the Frog Hotel?
Yeah.
We will we'll have to make sure that one is documented, fully.
That's right.
Unless something rough goes down and
Then
then
we're not
Naomi
going to
doesn't
tell
want to
you.
talk about it.
Oh, yeah. The little froggy just kind of hopped away. It's fine. Let's
yeah.
not speak of it anymore.
We sent him to a farm.
Upstate.
Upstate. That's right. That's right. All right. Let's stop making Naomi think about leaving the frog behind.
Aww.
And get to some random facts, your recurrent dose of Did You Know? Random facts for episode. What did I say it was? 117?
Yes.
All right. Did you know some species of male spiders tie up female spiders before mating?
Okay. Kinky.
That's it's not. It's so the females don't eat them afterwards.
Oh, smart.
It is smart, right?
Yeah.
Genius. They're, hey, I got you. Break out the handcuffs. Oh, all right.
Now you can't eat me.
50 Shades of Spiderweb.
Ooh.
Did you know there's a tiny epoxy shield inside of an aluminum soda can? So if you're drinking soda right now, get ready for this one. Otherwise, the soda would corrode the can in 3 days.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, and then we just, go ahead and put that right in the body. Mm-hmm. That's just insane. Did you know the longest winning streak in any professional sport in history is held by a squash player from Pakistan named Jahangir Khan? He won 555 consecutive matches from 1981 to 1986. That's
okay.
just a lot of matches.
Yeah.
Did you know the Mission Impossible television series from the 1960s? First of all, did you know there was a Mission Impossible television series in the 60s?
I did not.
Well, there was. Did you know that's where the term self-destruct was invented?
Cool. But no, I did not know
Yeah,
that.
because they would do the whole, this mission will self-destruct in 5 seconds. And I feel like that was Inspector Gadget would do that too, right?
Yeah.
It was definitely Inspector Gadget. Okay, cool. Because that's where I remember it from the most. But Mission Impossible. That's where that's from. And finally, did you know in the NBA playoffs, which are going down right now, shout out to my Knicks for trying, I guess, against Indiana.
I like the question
I
there.
guess. Did you know in the NBA playoffs, there's never been a successful comeback from a 3-0 series deficit?
Okay.
Of the 159 NBA teams that have been down 3-0, only 4 of them forced a Game 7. And then, of course, they ultimately lost it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. That is your recurrent dose of Did You Know? Some random facts for episodes 117. I was going to say 17. 117. So we watch a lot of movies and stuff like that, and I think you've seen a handful from this list, but I have a creepy list here of actors who were killed, kidnapped, or otherwise traumatized on movie sets.
Okay. This is going to be a messed up list.
This will set the tone for the Inglorious Basterds review that's coming up in just a second here. So Brendan Fraser was down for a long time. The reason is he beat himself to death with all his movies. Mm-hmm. He was almost suffocated for real during a scene in The Mummy where they try to hang him.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah. As was Michael J. Fox in Back to the Future Part 3. He actually lost consciousness when one of the takes of the hanging scene in the beginning where he first goes back in time. He's wearing the stupid, ugly pink 50s cowboy outfit.
Yeah.
And he gets hung there. Yeah, so he actually lost consciousness in one of those takes.
That's crazy.
A little bit, right? Almost 100 people were poisoned on the set of the Titanic. Have you ever heard this one? Someone spiked some clam chowder or something like that with PCP.
Why?
Who knows?
Hey,
But,
you know
yeah.
what would be fun to film? Everybody trying to, say their lines and they're all effed up.
Coincidentally, Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio were not working that day.
Okay.
The culprit never been caught. James Cameron, though, says he has a pretty strong suspicion who did it. Has never really said who or anything like that, but yeah, that is a famous behind-the-scenes movie set.
That's crazy.
Crazy situation. What's her name? Ilsa Fisher? Is it Ilsa? Anyway,
You're asking the wrong person.
she almost drowned doing a water tank escape trick in Now You See Me. I know you've seen that one because we watched that together.
Yes, and I remember hearing about that.
Okay.
Yeah. That she like almost drowned.
Yeah, so
That's
a
crazy.
release chain got caught in her costume of all you know what I mean? Like, that's just... Hey, everything's gonna be fine. It's a stunt. We got it planned out.
It's
We're not really
just a
doing
movie.
this. It's movie magic and all that
Yeah.
stuff. Except for if this chain happens to get tangled up in your costume and
You might
drown.
die. Yeah.
That's it. The hair and makeup guy was actually kidnapped from Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet in Mexico. If you remember, that's Leonardo DiCaprio too.
Yeah.
They only had to pay $300 to get him back. But yeah, he was kidnapped.
That's got
It was probably one of those, got in the wrong cab things or whatever. Hopefully, whatever. Actor Vic Morrow and 2 child actors were actually killed during the Twilight Zone, the movie. That is a famous one from 1982. Helicopter crashed and landed on them. Yeah, that's a really, really sad and scary one. Jim Caviezel struck by lightning when he was filming Sermon on the Mount and the Passion of the Christ. I would have stopped.
Yeah, I would have taken that as a sign.
Understood. I'm out of here.
Yeah, I'm done.
Bo Derek was attacked by a lion for real during filming of Tarzan the Ape Man in, I don't know, when was Bo Derek? The 70s or something like that?
I don't know, but that's why you don't mess around with wild animals.
Just saying.
Unless they're little tree frogs.
Bleep
But
around and
anything
find
bigger
out.
than that, no.
I like the save there because all you've been doing is messing around with wild animals, if you want to look at it that way.
They're little tiny animals.
Not
It's
predators,
fine.
right.
Exactly.
Still.
I'm not going after any of the wild cats.
Frog just came right at me, man. I don't know what happened.
Bit my nose.
No, that ridiculous visual in my head. Okay, great.
Yeah, sorry.
All right. We have always loved to make fun of the younger generations because that's what you do when you get older. I mean, they
That's
start
right.
you off that way in school where, like, the seniors pick on the freshmen and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's fun to make fun of Gen Z or Gen Alpha or whatever group we happen to pick on. Whichever one uses TikTok the most is the one we're coming at this time. And I love this because, it's really kind of neat to watch kids these days. We didn't have the internet. So when we learned stuff, it was like, yeah, that's how that goes. You're taught things. And then these kids discover things and then post this shit like they just, Sherlock Holmes something.
But it's something that's common knowledge to a lot of other people.
Yeah, like, if you reverse the cap on super glue, it pokes the foil in.
Yes.
Weird things like that where they're just like, bro, like life hack incoming and shit like that, right?
Yeah.
Point of view. You figured out how to open the super glue faster than everybody else, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, they always come up with these terms and shit that's just normal. And one of the new terms is water-based cooking.
So like boiling water?
Have you heard about this?
No.
So that's the latest term on TikTok that's going viral. Water-based cooking. So one dumbass influencer posted a montage of things being boiled, right, steamed, and cooked as soups and stews with the caption, "You started water-based cooking." And can you hear the stupid voice? I hate that bad voice. You started water-based cooking, and now your skin is clear, your stomach is thriving, and you recover from illness overnight.
Yeah, soup will do that for you.
I mean,
Good chicken noodle soup? Oh, yeah, you're set.
Good old... hey, broccoli cheddar, too, if you have the right kind.
Yeah.
I love a good broccoli cheddar. I'm just
But
saying.
it's that water-based cooking.
That
That's the miracle cure there.
the chicken
water.
soup. Your stomach is thriving. So some claim that water-based methods, like boiling, blanching, steaming, or poaching, can reverse aging.
Okay.
Yeah, there's of course, there's a TikTok lady who's explaining the benefits of water.
Water's good for you. We need it to survive.
I mean, it would be funny to find out that this is like a government propaganda-backed thing where they're just trying to get kids to drink more water to
That's
be
right.
healthier. Water-based cooking. So
phenomenal.
The idea is gentler cooking styles avoid unhealthy techniques. Oils, high heat, fats.
You mean I'm not supposed to deep fry everything?
Again.
Like, what the heck?
Yes.
I'm supposed to use water? That doesn't sound right.
So online, people are having fun with this. And this is the one we probably should have done 4 words for. But since we're off for a couple of weeks, we'll save that for closer to when we're ready to come back. But online, people are going nuts with this. Gen Z discovers soup. Is
Yeah.
probably my favorite comment that I was looking at through these.
Soup.
Yeah. This is just everyday food, especially in Asian cultures, right?
Yeah.
Nailed it. TikTok has a term for the most basic things. Yeah, absolutely. Another one said, I remember my first soup we got. Oh, I love how we're discovering boiling now.
Boiling is important, yeah.
That's right. I do this, but with chicken broth. Does it still count?
No.
Okay, so it's not water-based cooking. It's chicken broth-based cooking.
Yeah, you got to be very particular about that.
One said, I'm 2 days in and already looking younger.
I like that one.
One said, what are you cooking before?
Right? Just deep fried everything, apparently.
It's just like a
And
really honest
microwaving.
question.
Yeah.
Microwaving, right?
Yeah.
Then another one says, wait, do I put a pan of water on the burner and then turn the burner on? Or do I turn the burner on and then put a pan of water on it?
Oh,
That's
no.
a great one because, the whole thing. And then the final one is, I can't wait for the next TikTok trend about fire-based cooking. Wait till they discover that they can cook with fire.
That's right.
Oh, my God. Then it'll be like, you guys. Barbecuing and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what they would call that, though. Because they're not going to call it anything that it's actually called. They're going to come up
They
with their
can't
own
call
term.
it fire-based cooking?
I guess fire-based cooking, but like I'm going farther with like barbecue and like slow roasting and slow cooking and stuff like smoking and whatever. You know what I mean? What would they call that?
Something about slow cooking method.
Time-based cooking.
Yeah.
Some patience or something dumb like that. Anyway, another thing that I found on the internet that I love last week was National Dinosaur Day.
Okay.
And people asked online if there was a real-life Jurassic Park, would you go?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
You know what happens in Jurassic Park, right?
But a real-life one,
Absolutely not.
All right. Most people don't think it would be worth the risk. Less than a third said they would definitely buy tickets.
Would you go?
Uh-huh.
Of course you would go.
So, I've always loved dinosaurs. I've always loved Jurassic Park. And, amusement parks.
And if they get out, you're okay with that. It's
Thrill
fine.
rides. Look, I've seen the movies. I know what to do.
You know where to hide.
I know how to, get to the shut-off thing. And then,
There you go. Yeah.
don't let the raptors circle around like, clever girl and all that stuff, right? Like, so, that'd be all right.
Okay. You're on your own.
Not going with me?
Nope.
All right, who's going with me? That's the poll for this week. Who's going with Luke to Jurassic Park? If there was a real Jurassic Park, who's coming with me?
I can't believe you would go.
I don't know why, but I would. Because it's that absurd, honestly. Also, if there was a real life Jurassic Park, as in the very first movie when they talk about jacking up the prices, I'd never be able to afford it.
Okay.
So even if there was a real one, I'd be like, hell yeah, I'd go, because I wouldn't even get close.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm with it. Who's going? Who's coming with me, man? Who's coming with me?
I'm telling you, you're on your own. Like, first of all, it's just a giant zoo for giant reptiles.
Well, yeah, see?
No.
There's no real issues there. You just go,
There
you check
is.
out
They
all
can
the...
still escape.
I mean, you know what? So can the great apes when we're checking out, the gorillas and stuff like that.
That's true.
They really wanted to. They come, but they're fascinating and so much fun to watch.
I feel like that'd be more fun to watch than some reptiles walking around.
I don't know. A T-Rex would be pretty cool. I just think so.
Yeah.
Stegosaurus. I'm just going to name dinosaurs now.
The only ones that you know, pterodactyl.
Triceratops.
There you go.
What are the rest of the Power Rangers? All right. So I think I am going to put a poll up. That's
Wow,
just
why not?
Are you going to a real life Jurassic Park with Luke? Because I need to know who's coming. The four of us will go
Yeah.
because it'll probably.
Are
just be
you
four
are
people.
you paying for everybody?
I am not paying for everybody.
Okay.
By the way, that's
So you have to pay your own way there, but you can go with Luke if you'd like.
Jurassic Park existing can be hypothetical, but affording to go can't be.
We're realists.
Where are we
kinda.
at here? All right. All right.
All over the place. All over the place.
All right, that gets us to our answers from last time, which was we wanted 4 words from someone uses a coupon on a first date, and we got a little bit more pushback on this than I thought we were gonna. Not a ton, but a handful of
Wait,
people.
you mean people that were against coupons on the first date?
Yeah.
The hell's the matter with you guys? Saving
That's what I'm
money is
saying.
important.
It is.
It should be a virtue, like patience.
I think I was
All
talking
the rest
about
of
it
'em.
last episode, and I said, you hey, yeah, I got points or rewards or literally a half off coupon. I mean, you don't gotta go in there wearing it as a bib pinned to your collar or waving it around like some jackass.
It doesn't have to be
cartoon.
the first thing out of your mouth.
Right. When
You
the
just
time
do
comes,
it.
You can get up and go discreetly if it's a first date and you're really worried about it, but I just wouldn't be like, hey, check this out. I got half of this for free. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now we're going to go and I'm going to spend the rest of this on booze for us.
Yeah, why not?
Something like that, right?
So we got
Anyway.
pushback. All right, who do I got to yell at first?
Handful of people called it cheap. Dave, who only gave us 3 words, because apparently he's cheap with words, said that is cheap. That's all he said.
First of all, minus 10 points because
Minus
you
10
only
points.
had 3 words instead of 4. But also, like, minus 5 extra points because you're wrong.
Absolutely.
It's not cheap.
Absolutely. The couple others I liked, a lot of them were I'm a cheap date. Snowman had one of those.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Mark D said cheap ass scrub move.
Oh, come on. It's fine.
That's
It's fine.
Yeah, yeah. So I said better use a discount than drive a little tiny pickup or a little tiny Tic Tac car.
Yeah.
Because
that's what he drives.
Yeah, he drives a little tiny Tic Tac car. My mom says, are you freaking kidding?
I can see your mom being very offended
Yeah, I
if someone
know.
used a coupon on the first date.
Wouldn't be the one spending the money at all and would have ordered something expensive too.
Yes.
And then the coupon comes out and she'd be mad about it.
No, I think it's fine. I really do.
I do too, I'm telling you. Shannon says, love a thrifty person.
Yes. Thank you, Shannon.
Yeah, Shannon to help us. Snowman says, I'm a cheap date.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I had one more, but now I can't find it, and I lost it. And Wesley, my favorite, and I think you're going to like this one too. He says, more money for dessert.
Yes, exactly. Why not use the coupon, then take your date out for ice cream? Or, I don't know, doesn't matter, ice cream.
Paul Moore's got a couple go. He said, will you marry me?
There you go,
Or,
yes.
Or your place or mine? Love those two, Paulie.
Yes. Like, for real, there's nothing wrong with the coupon on the first date.
I
there
don't
really
think so
isn't.
at all. Like,
I would
you know,
rather you use a coupon on the first date and take me to some at least halfway decent place than take me to, like, McDonald's.
Right.
You
all
know?
I can afford is hot dogs because, well, I have a half off coupon to the steak place, but I thought it'd be
I can't.
stupid.
Yeah, I'm too embarrassed to use that, so.
Come on. What are we doing here?
Steak, man, steak.
That's right. Now all of a sudden it's steak. So yes, exactly. All right. So there you go. Check out the poll. I'll put it up somewhere, all over the place, everywhere, wherever you're listening. Let me know whatever I said. Are you coming to Jurassic Park with me? If Jurassic Park was real, are you coming with me?
Specifically Luke, like, are you going with him?
Who's coming with me, man?
That's right.
Who's coming with me? All right. That moving right along here. I like it.
Yeah.
Now I really am excited to see how you felt about Inglorious Basterds. So hold on, let me hit the button first. All right, that brings us to the next. How many Tarantino movies do you know? Pulp Fiction,
Kill Bill,
Kill Bill. Is that it?
I guess.
Do
No. We watched the one where, like, 8 people died.
So any of them?
No, I thought that was, like, in the title. Like,
Oh yeah. The Kyle's just so mad right now. The Hateful Eight. And
Yeah, we watched
also
that, right?
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood too is his, right? Yeah. So
did we watch both of those?
yeah.
Okay.
So
Where 8 people died.
where 8 people died. Yes, there you go. Those two. So a couple of more Tarantino movies incoming then,
Yeah.
but you know, kind of Tarantino a little bit and
His
all of that
style.
stuff. So I am excited to see what you think of this one. It's been a minute since I watched this. I love breaking this out every now and then, but some of those scenes are so damned intense. I can't just have this on all the time, right?
No, you can't.
So
You'll feel really depressed if you did.
I think so, right?
Yeah.
So take it away.
All right. So we start in Nazi-occupied France, where we have a German officer. He's meeting with a dairy farmer in his house and suspects him of hiding Jews, which he is. He tells the officer that he's hiding a family, but they're speaking in English, so the family doesn't know what's happening, which I hated this scene. I was like, because the guy seems so tough in the beginning. The dairy farmer, he's like, go in the house and all of this stuff. I thought he was going to kill the guy. Like, whatever. And then you see the family, like, hiding under the floorboards and all of that stuff. And you're like, oh, that's awesome. This guy is saving them and everything.
I do kind of remember some hope the first time I watched this.
Yeah. But then he's just like, yeah, I'm hiding a family. And he's like, okay, basically tell me where. And again, they're speaking in English, so the family doesn't know what's happening. And he's kind of pointing it out. So the officer brings in his men, and they shoot the floorboards where the family was hiding. And it's just like, what the hell, dude?
What the hell, indeed.
I was so mad. But one girl gets away, though, so that's cool.
Au revoir, Shoshana. So, did you notice the pipes? Hey, is it cool if I smoke that pipe?
Yeah.
Of course it is. It's your house and all this. And he breaks out the corncob pipe.
And then the German guy's got a weird, it looks like a tuba.
Yeah, he pulls
out a whole freaking tuba.
Just a bunch of subtle little things that made that scene so just...
Everything was wrong with that scene. Actually, it's that officer. It's
Christoph Waltz. Colonel Landa. Hans Landa.
Yeah. That character... Throughout the movie, I just wanted to slap across the face. There's a scene later, and I don't actually dive into it in the notes, but...
With the cream?
Yes! And he's talking with his mouth full, and he just...
I can't believe you didn't write anything down about that scene. You're supposed to.
And then he puts his cigarette out on the freaking strudel. Like, way to waste a delicious dessert, man.
That's what you were offended about, was the waste of a sugary dessert.
Well, that and the slapping of the mouth and all of that kind of stuff when he's talking and just, ugh. And then, like, in this first scene where he's drinking the milk and he just chugs a glass of milk.
What's wrong with that?
It's just gross. You don't chug milk. First of all, milk's gross to begin with, but also you don't chug it down.
Naomi isn't a milk drinker. I absolutely do. I will,
You're going to chug a whole glass of milk.
I have in front of you.
Oh. Gross. Anyway, so I don't like this character.
Cold milk?
Okay. So now we meet Brad Pitt, who has his team of like guerrilla soldiers that are going to be dressed as civilians, but go and kill Nazis. So that's cool.
You're not gonna.
I called them the Inglorious Basterds plenty of times. I am going to say the word bastards.
Oh, that's not what I was asking. You're not going to try to do Brad Pitt's accent.
Oh, gosh, no.
I wanted to hear you try to say, I want my scalps.
No, those words are not coming out of my mouth.
There's at one point he calls I hope I'm not blowing one of your notes for later, but he's like calling one of the German guys a sauerkraut sandwich.
Uh-huh.
But he calls him a sauerkraut sandwich, and it's the best. Like it's wonderful.
It's an interesting character.
Yeah, Brad Pitt goofy accent movies are excellent.
Yeah. Also, that wasn't in my notes at all.
Okay.
None of the great insults that he has are in my notes.
If you ever want to eat a sauerkraut sandwich again.
That's right. All right, so all of this is happening. We also meet Hitler, and man, is this guy just intense and gross.
I don't care how it's literally been almost 100 years. How do you play Hitler? That's,
Yeah, so I give major credit to the person that has to do that. But, just no.
They did it. They went real over the top with him. Did it really well.
They
And,
did.
Very much Tarantino.
Yeah, it was very uncomfortable. Even though at this point he's scared because of what these guerrilla soldiers are doing and everything, it's just still weird to see just Hitler on a screen.
Just
kind of
weird to see a portrayal of Hitler, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
So we meet Hugo, who happens to be one of the Inglorious Basterds.
Hugo Stiglitz.
He was in the German army, but he killed a bunch of his own officers.
Gestapo officers.
Yeah, and they tried to send him back to Berlin, and then the Inglorious Basterds swooped in and added him to their team.
Excellent recruitment scene.
Yes.
Love that one in the basement prison dungeon, whatever it was there. Mm-hmm. He's just like calmly nodding. Yep. You want to go pro? Mm-hmm.
And we meet Donnie, whose nickname is
the Bear Jew.
The Bear Jew. And he beats Nazis with a bat.
Teddy Williams knocking out of the friggin' block.
That was just crazy.
You did not expect his voice to be like that, did you?
No, I didn't. So the bastards kill this officer because he wouldn't narc on some other German soldiers. Donnie beats him with a bat, I should say, is what actually happens. Oh, yeah. There are 2 other German soldiers there. One gets up to try to run away, and they shoot him. And then the other one narcs so that, he can live. And that's like, he doesn't waste any time. They're like, show us where the camp is on the map. And he's just, boop, right there. This is how many people are there. This is the kind of weapons they have. He was just like, let me live.
The little nuance in that scene, too, where like they purposely laugh at the guy when he gives them up.
Yeah.
And how fast he gives them up, too. Love that. Absolutely.
Yeah. So the guy that ends up living, he ends up meeting with Hitler because he was the only survivor after meeting the Inglorious Basterds. But I feel at this point, like, Hitler would be mad that he narked and would kill him anyway.
Probably.
So they let him go. And they tell him to tell the others he was freed so he could spread the word of what he saw, like the Inglorious Basterds do and all that, so they can scare other Nazis. Of course, once this guy tells Hitler that, he's like, no, we're just going to tell everyone you escaped. That's it. I get it. I spread fear through your camp.
That's right.
Also, apparently they marked the Nazis too, so that after the war is over, everyone knows who was an actual Nazi.
It's too bad they didn't really do that to some of, to all of them, any of them.
Yeah. So they carved a swastika in his forehead.
You're getting good at this, Sarge.
The amount of times.
Or whatever.
Yeah. Hang on 1 second. I moved my notes down.
Oh no, the scrolls.
Oh no.
I do love that. Just the little things they put in to make that group so terrifying and just freaky to the German soldiers, and just that laughter is just one of my favorite little things.
Between that and getting a knife to your forehead is terrible enough.
And the big ass knife he's got is. I mean.
And the scene's gross when you see it.
Yeah, the fake skin and all that.
Yeah. So then we see the Jewish girl that got away.
Shoshana.
I don't mention her name until almost the end of the movie.
No kidding.
Yeah. Whoops.
What do you just call her? The Jewish girl that got away the whole time?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
She owns or runs a movie theater now. And then this German soldier keeps hitting on her, but he's somebody everybody knows. At this point, I was like, is he Hitler's son? Did Hitler have a son? I don't know. Because they're like, oh, he's very famous, and like people are coming over for autographs and stuff. And I had no idea that, oh, he's a war hero. So, I was just trying to figure out who the hell he was.
During those scenes, like in that cafe and stuff, when people keep asking, walking up to him and stuff. First time I saw this movie, I thought for a few minutes that he had like paid people to do that to make him look, important in front of him.
Ah, okay.
Did it come off that way at all, or is it just me?
No, I thought it was Hitler's son.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I was just like, who is this famous guy? Didn't think of anything of a war hero or
right. He's
actor.
very, very unassuming war hero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So that's what we find out. He's a war hero, and they made a movie about him, and he starred in the movie. But the Jewish girl is not impressed, of course, and she storms out. What?
You really are just going to call her the Jewish girl the whole time.
I'm going to keep forgetting Shoshana.
All right. I remember she asked me almost, 2/3 of the way through the movie. Her name is Shoshana? I'm like,
yeah.
You didn't write this down yet?
No, did not.
Okay.
I didn't think it was going to come up. I didn't realize how important of a character she was.
That's got to be like a promo for the show.
I didn't know the main character's name because I didn't think it'd come up. Hey, listen, we watched Kill Bill, and I didn't know that girl's name for the longest time either. Just saying.
All right.
Yeah. See, sometimes it's not important. All right.
I didn't think it would come up.
We got this German car that comes up and picks up the Jewish girl at the movie theater. Looks like they're trying to host a German night, a premiere for this movie at her theater. While they're making these plans at a fancy restaurant, here comes that German officer from the beginning of the movie. The one that didn't kill her after him and his men killed their whole family. So freaking intense.
So, and he's
Very uncomfortable scene.
standing right behind her chair, like so close to her and all that.
And it just gets worse because then everybody else gets up and he decides, oh, no, we're going to stay here and have a little chat,
Yeah.
and asks her to stay. Not only that, but he orders milk for her because of the dairy farm. Because why else would you ever order milk for somebody else?
Does
First
he
of all-
know? Doesn't he? Doesn't he?
Of course he knows.
Well, with everybody else that he knew was guilty of something, he took him out right away.
Yeah, but he knows. He's playing a long game or something here. He knows her. That's why he ordered the milk.
Did you feel as tense as she did?
Well,
during
not
that?
as tense because she gasps after everything and it's really intense. And I'm like, yeah, but it was pretty rough.
Yeah.
So he doesn't say anything about it.
Excellent scene.
But also, that's the same scene where he's talking the entire time with his mouth full of strudel and then puts a cigarette out.
He does that so well that it's just noticeable. You know what I mean? It's so weird how he's just awesome.
So this is the point where I finally mention her name in my notes. But that's okay because Shoshana, the Jewish girl, has a plan.
Just in case everybody who's listening doesn't know who the hell you're talking about.
Yeah. Didn't think it'd come up. She's going to host the German night. And while her theater is filled with Nazis, she's going to burn it to the ground. Go her.
All right.
Yeah. So while she's making her plan, there are other army officials making other plans that they know about this German film night. And by the sounds of it, they want to blow up a theater. So either way, a lot of people there's a lot of people out there who want all these Nazis dead.
Right.
All right, so this other group, these like army guys from the German side that aren't Nazis, I think they're basically like, taking them down from the inside. They meet with this German actor who wants to help. She's going to be at the German movie night. She's going to help them blow up the venue, all of that kind of stuff. So they're basically saying, hey, you're going to meet in a tavern. It's, in a basement, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You're going to meet with these other guys, the Inglorious Basterds, a couple of those guys.
Make contact with them, remember, because they're behind enemy lines and stuff like that.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yep. So this ends up being such an intense scene. Again, there's quite a few in this movie.
There is.
Because we actually have German soldiers in this tavern. We have a few German soldiers that are now part of the Inglorious Basterds. And then we have people pretending to be German soldiers. And they're all going to get found out at this point. Why are you looking at me like that?
All of the Inglorious Basterds were pretending to be Germans.
Oh, I thought two of them were... because the one guy was a German soldier.
British.
Wasn't the one guy a
Stiglitz?
German... Yeah.
Yeah, but he hasn't been a German soldier forever. He's
Yeah.
masquerading there.
Yes,
Yeah.
but, he
So you got a couple
can
of...
be pulled off as a German soldier. Like, he was one.
Yes.
You
Okay,
know?
Okay, yeah.
That's the line there. You've got people pretending. You've got one that actually was. And then you have actual German soldiers there celebrating at the tavern.
Right.
Yes. So it's going to be messy. And they're going to get found out because that's what's going to happen.
That's what's gonna happen.
It's just going to happen. Every moment is intense. First, it's, there's a call out because the one guy's accent is a little off. Does that
Yeah,
make
like,
sense?
where's your accent from?
Yeah. And then they're trying to come up with a quick lie, and the actress is all like, yes, I can vouch for him. Yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly where he's talking about.
Mm-hmm. And his brother's better looking or whatever they say, But then they get found out because they ask for 3 glasses of whiskey. So he holds up 3 fingers, but that's not how Germans would hold up 3 fingers.
That's right.
They're going to get busted now. And they were. That was exactly what happened.
Love that scene. Such a cool, again, with the nuance, it's awesome.
But as soon as he did it, like, even if you didn't know the thing about the 3 fingers with the thumb, the index, and the middle finger, or,
1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Even if you didn't know that, you knew something bad was there. Because you just feel how tense it gets.
Yeah, as soon as... Yeah,
and as soon as it happens, you know that
Plus,
they're
there's
found
that
out.
Gestapo officer, too, who's just, like, crazy looking.
Yeah.
He's very intense, and so he
But you see it in his face right after it happens, and you know.
Excellent. Excellent scene.
So we got a shootout, and basically everybody is dead. Well, almost everybody. The actress got shot in the leg, so they took her to a vet's office or something.
They did.
Yeah.
That was the closest thing they could find. Also, again, with the hospitals and doctors and who knows.
Can't get found out.
Who knows who's a sympathizer and who's not and all that stuff. So they take him to a vet. Take her to a vet.
Somehow, they're still going to try to figure this out and find a way to blow up this venue, especially now because they found out that Hitler is planning on going.
Now it's important to her.
Mm-hmm. It's important to everybody.
No, it's much more important.
Yep. Back at the scene of the gunfight, Landa?
Sure.
I want to put a V in there. I don't know why. Like a V instead of the N. Doesn't matter. The evil German from the beginning who didn't kill Shauna, if you didn't know who these people were. He's out exploring the crime scene and notices one of the actress's shoes and realizes someone is unaccounted for.
So you didn't write her name down either?
No, I didn't. I don't ever mention her name. I forget who she is.
Bridget von Hammersmark.
That's why I didn't write that down.
I mean, Bridget would have sufficed.
Yeah.
The actress.
Then he sees a note that she had given one of the soldiers, so he knows that she was there. Now their plans are going to get ruined because this guy knows too much. He's going to know what they're planning or something. I don't know. I just don't have a good feeling about this.
Okay.
All right, so it's the night of the premiere. We're about halfway through my notes because premiere night, a lot happens. Everything happens on premiere night. It's German night, premiere night, whatever, at the theater. Shoshana has created her own special movie for the Nazis. She's also wearing this veil like she's going to a funeral, or at least that's what it reminds me of. So that's kind of cool.
Fitting.
I'm hoping because I want to see that Hans Landa guy die. He's just the worst.
Get his, right?
I mean, I want to see Hitler die too, so it's fine. My next notes just say, "Oh no, the actress has been found out." Well, she already was because she left, her shoe at the tavern.
Yeah.
But Hans notices her cast.
You skipped the whole meeting with Brad Pitt and Hans Landa and all.
Well, that's what's happening right now. Hans notices her cast and then makes fun of her terrible story about rock climbing. That was that scene.
That's right.
Yeah, but then I don't go into details about the correcto and all of that kind of stuff. Right. They're bad Italian.
Hilarious.
And the whole thing was, hey, you guys are going to pretend you're Italian because Germans won't be able to pick up on your accent, right. Except for this guy speaks Italian, so
of course he does.
That backfired.
It was great.
But then they just kept going with it. They didn't care.
Yep.
Which was kind of cool. Anyway, so she makes up this
hilarious
crappy story about rock climbing, and that's what happened to her foot, and that's why it's in a cast, not the fact that she got shot. So he pulls her aside, takes her into an office, and has her have a seat. He sits across from her and asks her to put her foot on his leg. She obviously doesn't want to, but does obey, and it's such a creepy scene. The way he points down to his knee, he's just such a creepy character.
Excellent actor. He's just Then
he takes off her shoe and advises her to reach into his coat pocket that happens to be on the back of the chair where she's sitting, and hand him the item that's in the coat pocket. So she's sitting there and she's reaching in and all that. And she finds out it's her shoe from the tavern. So she's caught, obviously.
Yep.
And she's up. Yeah, and she's just basically like, so what do we do now? So he strangles her. Because what else are you going to do, I guess?
Lunges at her.
Yeah. And then he calls his men to grab the men that she was with.
That's right.
They get Aldo, basically the leader of the Inglorious Basterds. So I'm really bummed about that because I was like, no, how can you get caught? You're so close to the end of everything. At this point, things take a weird turn.
They do, right?
Don't really know how to handle this. So Hans Landa has taken Aldo and one of his men into custody, where they were taken to the back of a restaurant.
Ryan from The Office.
And he's basically explaining that he can pick up the phone, call the theater, and stop their terrorist plot from going down so that nobody blows up the theater. Because there are still 2 Inglorious Basterds in their seats with bombs strapped to their legs, like in the theater.
That's right.
You know? So he can call the theater and tell them what's going on and stop everything. Or he doesn't call the theater, and the 2 friends, like I said, that are left there carry out the plan, blow up the building, and kill a bunch of Nazis and end the war. So, is this guy trying to do the right thing? Is he going to let them end the war? I mean, it doesn't really matter because Shoshana has her plan and she's going to burn the place down anyway. Like, maybe he let her go on purpose in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
You know?
You think?
Maybe this was a long
he knew
game.
she was going to grow up to kill a bunch of Nazis in a movie theater?
I don't know. Maybe he... Okay, now that you say it out loud like that, it doesn't sound as true. But, I mean, it's a movie. Anything can happen. But also then I'm asking, why would he have killed her family? So I've got so many questions right now.
Well, because he was supposed to. You know, he's following orders. And he's also obviously, you know, very racist. He gets that across right away.
Yes, he does. But there's just something going on, and I don't understand it, and I don't trust it.
Okay.
So he wants to cut a deal, or so he says.
Or so he says.
Again, I don't really trust him.
I get that, yep.
He wants to negotiate the terms of his surrender so that he isn't killed if he helps them win the war. So, okay, did not see that coming, that's for sure.
Yep.
But did think it was weird that, like, they, you know, took them as prisoner and all of that stuff. Considering his track record, he probably should have just shot him in the head. So that made me think, like, something more had to be going on.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So what do you think is going on then?
I don't know. Like, I don't know. I just have so many questions.
Okay.
Meanwhile, back at the theater, Shoshana is getting ready to carry out her plans. And as Marcel,
Yeah.
her husband, lover,
Yeah, I think husband
whoever,
or, you know, whatever.
he's barring all the doors in the theater so nobody can get out. She's got her movie ready to play in the middle of this premiere, and they're ready to burn the place down. Again, also, we have the 2 members of the Inglorious Basterds that are still there with their bombs, so we know something's going to happen one way or another. All right. So the guy who's the actor in Nation's Pride, that's
Frederick.
the movie. Yeah, Frederick. The German soldier that had a crush on Shoshana heads up to the projection room and tries to get in. Shoshana tries to shoo him away, but he won't take no for an answer. So much so that he turns into this giant creep about it and forces his way in. Basically like, no one tells me no.
Right. Terrible.
Dude,
I mean,
now
we were-
you have to die.
We were kind of waiting
for that ugly
for that
side
from
of him.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a part of me that was hoping it wasn't there, especially like during the movie where he's kind of getting like kind of creeped out of his own killings and
or
stuff.
was that just a reason to go up and try to find her?
I guess. I don't know. I believed it. I fell for it. I was like, oh, maybe like this kid was just dumb, you know,
Yeah, right.
and just following orders and all of this kind
Sure.
of stuff. But then when he acts like that, I'm like, this guy's got to go. He's got to die. And he's going to, because they're going to burn down the theater. So he's going to die one way or another.
Right, it's coming.
So she ends up playing it off, though. Tells him to lock the door as if they're going to do something naughty or whatever. But when his back is turned, she shoots him multiple times. Atta girl. Kill that jerk.
There you go.
But then he's like moaning and stuff, and she goes over to investigate.
Yeah, don't do that.
What an idiot. Just
I mean,
shoot him again.
You should know that from zombie movies.
You should just know that because common sense.
Double
You
tap,
shot
you know?
him to kill him.
Yeah, don't.
If he's
yeah.
moaning,
Like,
that
now
means he's
what?
still alive. Shoot
yeah.
him again.
Just one more.
Yep. But no, she doesn't do that anyway. She goes over to him. So he pulls out a gun and shoots her. So now they both get to die. As all this is happening, Shoshana's part of the movie starts playing. This small piece of a movie she spliced in saying like, burn them all. And this is the face of the Jew that's going to kill you and all of this kind of stuff. As that's playing, Marcel is behind the movie screen and he flicks a lit cigarette into a pile of film tape and the theater is engulfed in flames.
Oh, yeah.
It's intense. Also, while all this is happening, the two guys that were part of the Inglorious Basterds, they're still in the theater, so they just start shooting into the crowd and shooting Hitler, of course.
Oh, yeah. Donnie D.
Very, very intense scene with lots and lots of death and fire and burning and all of that kind of stuff.
Oh, way over the top.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Absolutely.
All right, we go back to Aldo, Hans, and that group as they make their way to the American side, where Hans is going to officially surrender. But Aldo wants everyone to remember that he was in the German army and that he was a Nazi. So he carves a swastika into his head and calls it his masterpiece.
Oh, yeah.
The end.
The end.
The end.
He was saying Landa had, like, negotiated to go live, in the U.S. as a hero and stuff like that.
Yeah, get an island in Nantucket or a piece of land in Nantucket.
Yeah, something like that. So,
Yeah.
got to make sure everybody knows.
Who you actually are.
You ever want to eat sauerkraut sandwich again? I love that.
One of my favorite things that I didn't include in the notes here was at the end of the movie. So it's Landa and the radio operator that were... And then it's Aldo and the other guy.
Yeah.
Little man, as they call him. Just to start stirring shit up.
That was awesome.
So anyways, it's the four of them. And it's, he's... Landa is going to surrender and all of this kind of stuff. And when they stop to basically kind of switch roles as they get over into, like, the American side... American territory, whatever.
Yeah.
Aldo shoots the radio operator.
Yeah.
And Hans just, like, freaks out. He's like, we negotiated his life, like, all of this stuff. And Aldo is more like, yeah, I'll probably get a slap on the wrist for that one. I've been in trouble before. I'm not worried about it.
I'll probably get chewed out for that.
Yes, that's what it was.
Been chewed out before.
Yes. I loved that so much, where it was just more like, you know what? Yeah, you're going to get chewed out, but you did the right
He's
thing.
like, they don't care about him. They care about you.
Exactly.
He's like, you're going to get in trouble. I'll probably get chewed out for that.
I've been chewed out.
before.
Yep. I loved it.
Brad Pitt just wonderful in that whole role. I wish there was more of him.
Yeah,
wasn't enough.
There could have been more of him in this movie.
Could see more of them. All right, so is that your?
That's my
end of
notes.
Your notes. Cool. So, did you like it?
I did like it.
I figured you liked
it was an intense movie.
It is an intense movie.
I liked it. I find a lot of those movies, especially like movies that have to do with war. I know this one was, not based on a true
Fictional,
story
right?
and all of that. But there are some parts of those that are just, it is hard to watch.
Yeah.
But I did like the movie.
All right. Cringe level? I don't think there's a cringe level here because it's not an older movie. So, like, I'm not talking about, like, old people lingo or anything like that. Did you like the title of the movie in the movie? I don't really. Did they call him Inglorious Basterds at all?
I feel like it was definitely on the baseball bat that Donnie used to
beat everybody to death.
Yeah, I believe it's mentioned, but I don't know. It didn't stick out enough.
Not satisfactory for you.
That's all right.
All right. What did you know about the movie going in?
I knew Brad Pitt was in it.
Okay.
I knew it had something to do with war. I assumed that it had to do with Nazis. That's kind of it.
All right. What were your thoughts going in?
I don't know. You did tell me that there were going to be some parts that were a little intense, so I had that kind of thought going in.
Okay.
But that was
it that kind
it.
of intense you thought that, was...
It was
I
a
sell it
different
right?
kind of
Okay.
intense,
That's
Because
you can't really, describe that without really giving anything away. So I was just like, listen,
Yeah.
there's some intense scenes in here. Just hang with
And
it.
that can be taken any way. You can have like an intense scene because, someone's getting stabbed a bunch of times. Or you
Right,
can have
yeah,
an intense
exactly.
scene because some jerk knows who you are and isn't going to say anything and just kind of dangle that in front of you.
It's definitely all relative, but man, I remember the first time I watched this one, like, you get to the scene with the freaking cream, wait for the creme, and it's just like, I could explode right now with just like tension. You know what I mean? It's just freaking crazy at that point. So all right.
It is.
What surprised you?
I don't know. Anything really surprised me, you know? No.
Nothing.
No.
No surprises at all.
Well, I mean, there are surprises in the movie and stuff, but like as an overall whole, like, nah.
Okay. Would you have liked it more or less if you saw it when you were younger? Say like 20.
I think less.
Probably less. I
Yeah.
can see that for sure. Favorite part?
Well, the ending was definitely great.
That's a good one, huh?
I liked all the insults that Aldo had. Called them Nazi farts at one point, and I was just like, what the hell? Especially when he got mad. Son of a gun, blah, 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 you know, and just kind of went off.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, there was probably the scenes with Brad Pitt were definitely up there.
Aldo's a lot of people's favorite part of that movie.
It's just the character that he played,
It's
where
great.
he just didn't give a crap.
And did you notice the parallels between Aldo and Lando, where, you know, at the beginning of the movie, Lando says, I was called down from my Alps to come and help, you know, the Nazis do their nonsense.
Yeah.
And Brad Pitt says, you know, I got called down from the Appalachian Mountains to come and do, you know, all this. And
I didn't
yeah.
notice those two things.
It was the first time I've noticed it. I don't know, whatever.
I don't
But, you know,
like that.
Little parallel there.
Yeah.
Little parallel there. Both mountain men, you know what I'm saying? Let's see, where do we leave off here? Least favorite part.
I think, well, first of all, when Shoshana decides to investigate somebody instead of shooting them dead, that's definitely up there, because that was a dumb move.
That is a disappointing part of the movie.
I liked
I mean,
her.
I was pretty sure, you know, she was going down with the ship anyway.
Sure, but go down in the glorious flames that you've created.
Literal
not,
blaze of glory.
yeah. Instead of getting shot because you investigated somebody moaning that you tried to kill already.
I know. So wait, all of a sudden you're sad about it?
Yeah. So that definitely was the absolute worst part
All right.
of this. There was a lot, just those intense scenes, especially when you knew Landa knew something.
Felt like that, right?
But there were so many times that happened, and you knew that he knew something, and he was, you know, just taking his time, kind of like dangling it in front of everybody. Those scenes were very tough to get through.
Yeah, he's like a parent, but evil, where it's like,
Yeah.
I already know the answer.
Yes, but I'm going to ask you
That's right.
anyway.
Very much, very much. Would you recommend it to someone else who hasn't seen it?
Yes.
Watch it again?
Yes.
Stop if it's on television.
Yes.
Are you happy you watched it?
Yes.
Would you like to see Christoph Waltz, a.k.a. Hans Landa, do that character as a good guy?
As a good guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Django Unchained. He plays the dentist. He's not as intense as Landa because he's not a bad guy. You know, bad guys are easier to make them intense and all that stuff. But we will do Django Unchained coming up soon, eventually.
At some point.
Probably not the next movie because we're not going to jump back in with the Tarantino movie after our little hiatus. But all right, that is an excellent review of Inglorious Basterds. Thank you for watching and taking the notes. Thank everybody for listening.
And dealing with not knowing people's names until the end of the movie.
If you've listened to any of our reviews by now, you already know.
You should know.
I didn't think it would come up.
I don't mention names like ever. I just don't.
And then there's always this. I'm going to put Naomi right on the spot here, but there's always that. Would you call it fear or like second guessing of yourself? That what if I got the name wrong? What if I wrote the character's name down wrong, and now I'm on the internet saying the name incorrectly for an hour?
It is a straight up fear. I have nightmares about it. That's why I stumble over the names. If you saw the way I wrote
your name
Shoshana,
down? Because that's why.
it's easier to say that than to be like, I don't want to write it down wrong and have everybody make fun of me.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't think it'd come up. It's fine.
Didn't think it'd come up at all.
I honestly did not think that she was a main character. Like, I thought she was like a semi-main
Literally in the
character.
first and third scenes of the movie.
Well, she got away.
I'm not writing
It's
that bitch's
fine.
name down at all. I don't need to.
It's fine. If I wrote down everybody's name, you know, it would just be too much.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Excellent.
All right, it's time for thought of the day.
Thought of the day, thought of the day. It's the thought of the day, thought of the day. See, that's why we built it like that, so that Naomi has an out when
I
just
gotta get
start
the hell out of
incessantly
this.
ripping on her for something goofy.
You know, there has to be so many intended before photos that we never actually get to see because the person just didn't lose the weight.
Really?
Gotta think about
That's
that.
kind of sad.
I'm sorry.
But that's also, yeah, I bet there's a lot of before photos out there that just never got out to the public.
I'm gonna start my diet today. All
What
right,
are all
let me
these
take my
photos?
pictures.
I got a before photo 4 months in a row.
Every new month, I'm like, I'm gonna try again. Well, let me take a new picture too.
Oh, that's terrible.
All right, Luke, you gonna leave us with a laugh?
I'm going to do my best. Sandwich walks into a bar. Bartender says, sorry, we don't serve food here.
That's sad. That's racist.
That's right. All right, that's enough. That is not enough jokes, though. What is E.T. short for?
Extraterrestrial.
Because he's only got little legs.
Stop it.
Went to a seafood disco last week. I pulled a muscle.
That's stupid.
No, it's not. Got her. All right, that's the way to end. Again, we are
Oh
off
my
for a couple of
God.
weeks, but make sure you subscribe, like, and follow everywhere, especially on the YouTube, because we will have some stuff coming up, some shorter stuff in the meantime.
Yeah.
Between now and then. Wish us luck. I'm packing up the apartment and moving down the road to the bigger apartment.
Yay.
Which just means that there's going to be so much shit that's not going to get unpacked for months and months and months.
That's okay.
We'll have room for it to be in a cavernous, more cavernous apartment. All right, that's it for episode
That's it,
117. Again, Luke and Naomi on air everywhere. LukeandNaomi.com. Don't forget, subscribe, please, to the YouTube channel. We're begging you. Until episode 118, have some fun and be excellent to each other.
Love you, bye.